Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive with us. Today we are talking all about your gut health. And, we're going to go way beyond just digestion. We're going to be exploring its connection to your mood, to your immunity, and even to your skin health.
Wow.
I know, right?
Yeah,
It's a really fascinating topic, and we're going to learn a lot of surprising things today.
absolutely.
So our guide for this journey is an episode of the Health and Wellness Unpacked podcast.
Okay.
And it features Dr. James Carter, who's a leading expert in gut health.
Oh.
So we're in good hands today. You might think you know a lot about gut health already, but trust me, you're going to learn some new stuff in this deep dive.
I think what's really intriguing is the sheer scale of it. The gut microbiome. I mean, we're talking about trillions of microorganisms living inside of us, bacteria, viruses, fungi, and they're all interacting with each other
Oh, wow.
and with our bodies. It's like a whole ecosystem thriving inside of us.
Yeah, I've heard it described as like a rainforest, right?
Exactly.
Like a whole, complex ecosystem. So, okay, we've all heard about, good bacteria and bad bacteria.
Yeah,
But what does that actually, mean when we're talking about gut health?
that's a great question. Think of it like a garden, right? You need a diverse range of plants for a thriving ecosystem. And some weeds are okay as long as they don't take over. It's the same with our gut. We need a balance of various bacteria. And these good bacteria, they play a vital role. They help us digest our food, they help produce essential vitamins like B and K, and they even help train our immune system.
So it's not just as simple as, wiping out all the bad bacteria.
No, not at all. It's about maintaining that healthy balance. When the bad bacteria dominate, that's when we start to experience those familiar gut woes, bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea. But the impact goes way beyond just digestive discomfort.
Right. You mentioned the connection between gut health and immunity.
Yeah.
So how exactly does our gut influence our immune system?
Well, consider this. Nearly 70% of our immune system resides in the gut.
Really?
Yeah, it's the front line of defense against harmful pathogens. And a healthy gut microbiome, it helps train our immune cells to distinguish between those friendly bacteria and the harmful invaders.
Okay.
So it prevents unnecessary inflammatory responses.
So a diverse gut microbiome is like a well-trained army ready to defend our bodies.
Precisely. And the fascinating thing is the gut's influence, it extends even further. It impacts areas you might not even expect.
That brings us to the gut-brain connection.
Yes.
Is it actually true that our gut bacteria can influence our mood?
Absolutely. This is where the concept of the gut-brain axis comes into play. Did you know that a significant portion of our serotonin, that's the feel-good neurotransmitter that's associated with mood and happiness, is actually produced in the gut?
Wait, so our gut bacteria are literally impacting our emotions?
In a way, yes. Imbalances in the gut microbiome, they can disrupt serotonin production, which can then have cascading effects on mood, sleep, and even cognitive function.
Wow.
Research is even showing potential links between gut health and conditions like anxiety and depression.
That's wild.
It is.
So if someone is, feeling down or anxious,
Yeah,
it might not just be, in their head. It could be linked to their gut health.
it's certainly a factor to consider, and the connections don't stop there. There's also growing evidence supporting the link between gut health and skin conditions like acne and eczema.
Okay, so let's talk about that.
Yeah.
The gut-skin axis.
Yeah.
How does what's happening in our gut show up on our skin?
Okay, so when the gut is inflamed or imbalanced, it can trigger this systemic inflammation that affects various organs, including the skin, and this can lead to a compromised skin barrier, making it more susceptible to irritation and infections.
Wow.
Research also suggests that gut bacteria play a role in regulating sebum production, which, that's the oily substance on our skin,
Right.
and influencing the skin's immune response as well.
So taking care of our gut could potentially improve our skin health.
It's definitely a piece of the puzzle. Of course, there are other factors at play when it comes to skin health, but a balanced gut microbiome is really essential for overall well-being, and that includes healthy skin.
This is also fascinating. It seems like our gut is involved in so many aspects of our health that we just don't realize.
It's truly remarkable.
Yeah.
And the more we learn, the more we appreciate that intricate connection between our gut and our overall well-being.
Okay, so before we jump into strategies for improving our gut health,
Okay.
let's just pause for a second and take stock of what we've learned so far.
Yeah.
So what are some signs that our gut might be out of balance? What should we be paying attention to?
So you already mentioned some of those common digestive signs like bloating, gas, changes in bowel habits, but it can also manifest in more subtle ways like fatigue, skin issues, mood swings. even difficulty concentrating.
Huh.
These could all be signals that your gut microbiome needs some attention.
So it's really about tuning into our bodies and
Mhm.
recognizing those subtle cues.
Exactly. Our bodies are incredibly intelligent. They're constantly sending us signals. It's just a matter of learning to listen and understand what they're trying to tell us.
Okay, so let's say someone is listening to this
Yeah.
and thinking, okay, my gut could use a little bit of TLC.
Uh-huh.
What are some simple steps they can take to start improving their gut health?
Well, the good news is that even small changes can make a big difference. One of the most impactful things you can do is focus on your diet.
Okay, let's talk fiber.
Yes.
I know it's good for digestion, but how does it specifically benefit our gut bacteria?
Fiber acts as what we call a prebiotic. So it provides nourishment for the beneficial bacteria in our gut.
Oh, okay.
It's essentially their food source.
Okay.
So by increasing our fiber intake, we're essentially creating a more hospitable environment for those good bacteria to thrive.
So what are some of the best sources of fiber? Like, give us the grocery list.
Okay, focus on whole, unprocessed foods like fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains. Think lentils, beans, berries, leafy greens. The more variety, the better.
And what about those trendy fermented foods?
Yes,
I've heard they're good for gut health.
they are. Fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, kimchi, and sauerkraut, they're rich in probiotics,
Right.
which are live beneficial bacteria that can help replenish and diversify that gut microbiome.
So we're essentially giving our gut a boost of good guys.
Precisely.
Okay.
And while getting probiotics from food is always ideal, probiotic supplements can be helpful in certain situations, like after a course of antibiotics, but it's always best to consult with your doctor before starting any supplements.
Right. Okay, so diet is key.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing it's not the only factor we need to consider.
Right.
What other lifestyle habits can impact gut health?
Stress, sleep, hydration all play a crucial role in maintaining a balanced gut microbiome.
Okay, let's start with stress.
Yeah.
We all experience it, but how does it actually affect our gut health?
When we're stressed, our bodies release cortisol, and cortisol can disrupt that delicate balance of our gut bacteria. This can lead to inflammation and can even slow down digestion. And plus, when we're stressed, we often make, let's just say, less than ideal food choices,
Yeah.
which further exacerbates the issue.
So managing stress is crucial for a happy gut.
It's a two-way street, really. A healthy gut can actually help regulate our stress response,
Oh, interesting.
and managing stress can improve our gut health, so it's a beautiful cycle.
What about sleep? How does that tie into all of this?
Well, just like every other system in our body, our gut needs rest and repair.
Uh-huh.
And when we don't get enough sleep, it can disrupt the natural rhythms of our gut microbiome, leading to imbalances and digestive issues.
So maybe those late night snacks are the only reason we feel so sluggish in the morning.
Exactly. Prioritizing a good night's sleep is essential for a healthy gut.
And finally, hydration.
Yes.
Why is that so important for our gut?
Water is essential for pretty much every bodily function,
Yeah.
including digestion. It helps move food through our system, prevents constipation, and supports the growth of beneficial bacteria.
So make sure you're sipping on that H2O throughout the day.
Absolutely. It's one of the simplest yet most effective things you can do for your gut.
This is all incredibly fascinating. We've covered so much ground, from those trillions of microorganisms living in our gut to the connection between gut health and our mood, immunity, even skin.
Yeah, it's truly remarkable how much we're learning about this hidden world within us. And honestly, we're only just scratching the surface. There's still so much more to explore.
It's so interesting, right? I've always thought of gut health being, like if I have digestion issues or something like that. But this connection to mood and immunity and skin health is like mind-blowing.
Yeah, and we're just beginning to understand the full extent of its influence. For instance, recent research has delved into the impact of specific gut bacteria on our mental and emotional states. Some studies even suggest that certain strains may even play a role in conditions like anxiety and depression.
So it's not just like having a balanced gut microbiome, but also about having the right types of bacteria present.
Precisely, and this is where the concept of psychobiotics comes in.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
What is that?
So these are specific strains of probiotics that have shown very promising results in improving mood, reducing stress, and even alleviating symptoms of anxiety and depression.
So we could potentially target specific mood-related issues by introducing certain types of bacteria into our gut.
That's the idea. It's still a relatively new field of research, but the findings are very exciting. I mean, imagine a future where we can personalize probiotic treatments based on an individual's gut microbiome and mental health needs.
That would be incredible.
It would be a total game changer
Yeah.
for mental health care. But, we're not quite there yet. More research is needed to fully understand the complexities of this gut-brain connection, and how we can effectively manipulate it for therapeutic purposes.
Okay, so back to practical steps
Yes.
we can take right now. We talked about diet, stress, sleep, and hydration. What about like the role of medication? I know you mentioned antibiotics.
Yeah, antibiotics are essential in many cases. However, they can also have some unintended consequences for our gut microbiome. They work by killing bacteria, and unfortunately, they don't discriminate between the good and the bad bacteria.
So when we take antibiotics, we're essentially wiping out both the, harmful bacteria causing the infection,
Yes.
but also the beneficial bacteria that we need for a healthy gut.
Exactly. This can lead to a disruption in the balance of our gut microbiome, which can sometimes manifest as digestive issues like diarrhea or bloating. In some cases, it can even increase our susceptibility to other infections.
That makes sense. So what can we do to kind of minimize that negative impact of antibiotics on our gut?
Well, first and foremost, it's important to only take antibiotics when absolutely necessary. Overuse and misuse of antibiotics can contribute to antibiotic resistance,
Right.
which is a serious public health concern.
So no popping antibiotics for a sniffle.
Exactly. Always consult with your doctor to determine if antibiotics are truly needed. And if you are prescribed antibiotics, talk to your doctor about strategies to support your gut health during and after your course of treatment.
So responsible antibiotic use is key.
Yes.
What other steps can we take?
Well, probiotic supplementation can be very helpful in restoring the balance of good bacteria after a round of antibiotics.
Okay.
There are also specific dietary strategies that can support gut health during antibiotic use.
Like what?
Well, focusing on prebiotic-rich foods is super important. Remember, prebiotics are like food for our good gut bacteria, so foods like onions, garlic, leeks, asparagus, and bananas are excellent sources of prebiotics.
So it's all about feeding the good guys.
Exactly. And, it's not just about antibiotics. Other medications like pain relievers, antacids, they can also affect our gut microbiome.
Really? I had no idea.
Yeah, it's true. Some medications can alter the pH of our stomach, which can affect the balance of bacteria in our gut. Others can interfere with the absorption of nutrients or even directly damage the lining of our digestive tract.
It's amazing how interconnected everything is. I guess it's just a good reminder to be mindful of, all the medications we're taking and the potential impact they could have on our gut health.
Absolutely. It's always a good idea to talk to your doctor about any potential side effects of medications, and that includes their impact on gut health.
This reminds me of something we touched on earlier, the gut-skin axis.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that? How does gut health impact our skin?
Certainly. As we mentioned before, when our gut is inflamed or imbalanced, it can trigger a systemic inflammatory response that affects various organs, including the skin. And this can lead to a compromised skin barrier, making it more susceptible to irritation, infections, and conditions like acne and eczema.
So those pesky pimples might actually be a sign of an unhappy gut.
Oh, it's certainly a possibility. Skin health is influenced by very complex interplay of factors, genetics, hormones, and environmental factors. But addressing gut health can often be a key piece of the puzzle.
Okay, so taking care of our gut can lead to clearer, healthier skin. What is the gut's role in regulating our immune system?
Yeah.
We talked about how a diverse microbiome helps train our immune cells.
Yeah.
Are there other ways that the gut influences immunity?
Absolutely. The gut microbiome plays a crucial role in maintaining the integrity of our gut lining,
Okay.
which acts as a barrier against harmful substances and pathogens. And when this barrier is compromised, it's a condition known as leaky gut.
Leaky gut. That sounds kind of scary.
It can be.
What is that?
Yeah, so essentially means that larger molecules, including toxins, bacteria, and undigested food particles, can actually leak into the bloodstream. And this can trigger an immune response and contribute to chronic inflammation throughout the body.
So leaky gut can have like far-reaching consequences
Yes.
beyond just digestive issues.
Exactly. It's been linked to a wide range of health problems, including autoimmune disorders, allergies, and even mental health conditions.
This is all so insightful. It really seems like our gut is at the center of so many aspects of our health. But before we get too overwhelmed, let's take a step back for a second. What are some key takeaways our listeners can apply to their own lives?
Well, I think one of the most important takeaways is that gut health is not just about digestion. It's about overall well-being. It's about mood, immunity, skin health, and so much more.
It's about recognizing that our gut is this really complex and interconnected system that plays a vital role in our overall health and vitality.
Precisely, and while the science can seem complex, the steps we can take to support our gut health are actually quite simple.
Yes, small changes can make a big difference.
Absolutely. It's about making those conscious choices every day to nourish our gut microbiome and create that thriving inner ecosystem.
So pay attention to your diet, manage stress, prioritize sleep, stay hydrated, and be mindful of the medications you're taking.
And don't forget to listen to your body. If you're experiencing digestive issues or other symptoms, don't ignore them. It could be your gut's way of trying to tell you something.
It's all about that mind-body connection.
Precisely. And remember, taking care of your gut is a journey, not a destination.
There's always more to learn and explore.
Exactly. And with each step we take toward better gut health, we're unlocking the incredible potential of this amazing system within us.
Okay, before we move on, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier about the types of fiber in our diet. Can you tell us more about that?
Of course, not all fiber is created equal.
Right.
There are two main types of fiber. We have soluble fiber and insoluble fiber.
Okay.
Soluble fiber dissolves in water and forms a gel-like substance.
Okay.
And this can help slow down digestion and lower cholesterol levels.
Okay.
Insoluble fiber, on the other hand, doesn't dissolve in water and adds bulk to our stool, helping to prevent constipation.
So we need both types of fiber for a healthy gut.
Ideally, yes. A balanced intake of both soluble and insoluble fiber is key for optimal gut health.
Okay, so what are some good sources of each type?
Great question. Soluble fiber is found in foods like oats, beans, lentils, apples, and pears. Insoluble fiber is abundant in whole grains, nuts, seeds, and vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower.
So variety is key.
Variety is key.
The more diverse our diet,
The better.
the more likely we are to get all those different types of fiber.
Precisely.
Okay, cool. And speaking of fiber,
Yes.
there's another type of fiber that deserves a special mention.
Yes.
Resistant starch.
Resistant starch.
I don't think I've heard of that.
So it's a type of fiber that, as the name suggests, resists digestion in the small intestine
Okay.
and reaches the large intestine relatively intact.
So what's so special about that?
Well, in the large intestine, resistant starch acts as a prebiotic, feeding our beneficial gut bacteria. And it's been shown to have numerous health benefits, including improving insulin sensitivity, reducing blood sugar levels, and promoting satiety.
It sounds like a superpower fiber.
It kind of is.
Where can we find resistant starch?
Good sources include cooked and cooled potatoes, green bananas, plantains, legumes, and oats.
Okay. Another one for the grocery list.
Yes.
This is so fascinating.
I know.
Feels like we could talk about fiber all day.
We could. It's a truly remarkable nutrient
Yeah.
that plays a vital role in gut health and overall well-being.
Okay, before we move on, I wanted to touch on something else you mentioned earlier, leaky gut. You explained what it is, but what are some things that can contribute to a leaky gut?
So leaky gut can be caused by a number of factors, including chronic stress, poor diet, infections, certain medications, and even excessive alcohol consumption.
So it's like a combination of lifestyle factors and environmental factors that can disrupt the integrity of our gut lining.
Exactly. And as we discussed, a leaky gut can have a cascade of negative effects on our health.
So this all points to the importance of taking a holistic approach to gut health. It's not just about what we eat, but also about managing stress, getting enough sleep, being mindful of other lifestyle choices.
Absolutely. It's about creating an environment that supports a thriving gut microbiome, which in turn supports our overall health and well-being.
Okay, let's switch gears for a minute and talk about something that's often touted as like a solution for gut health.
Yes.
Probiotics.
Yes.
There's a lot of hype around them, but is there actually any evidence to suggest that they're more effective than simply eating a diverse diet?
It's a great question. While probiotics can be beneficial in certain situations, like after a course of antibiotics or for specific digestive issues, they're not a magic bullet. The most important thing is to cultivate a healthy gut microbiome through a balanced diet, stress management, and other lifestyle factors.
It's not about like popping a probiotic pill
Yeah.
and expecting everything to be fixed.
Not exactly. Probiotics can be a helpful tool, but they're not a substitute for a healthy lifestyle.
Okay, so it's about creating the right environment for a gut bacteria to thrive, and then maybe supplementing with probiotics in specific situations.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that not all probiotics are created equal. Different strains have different effects, and the right probiotic for you will really depend on your individual needs.
So it's important to do your research and consult with a healthcare professional before starting any probiotic regimen.
Absolutely. They can help you determine which strains are most appropriate for your specific situation and guide you on dosage and duration of use.
This has been an incredibly insightful discussion. We've covered so much ground, but there's still so much more to explore. Before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought-provoking question.
I love it. Go for it.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the impact of, what we consume on our gut health.
Yeah.
But what about the role of our gut in processing emotions?
Wow.
Could our gut microbiome actually influence how we feel and react to the world around us? That's something to ponder. It really makes you think, right? We always talk about gut feelings and having butterflies in our stomach, but could there actually be a real scientific basis for those expressions?
It is fascinating. For centuries, we've intuitively recognized that connection between our gut and our emotions. And now science is actually catching up, revealing these intricate ways our gut microbiome influences our brain and our behavior.
Earlier, we were talking about the gut-brain axis
Right.
and how gut bacteria can actually produce neurotransmitters like serotonin
Yeah.
that impact mood. But how does that communication actually happen? How do these tiny organisms in our gut actually send signals to our brain?
So there are multiple pathways involved in this intricate communication network. One key player is the vagus nerve.
Okay.
It's a long nerve that connects the gut directly to the brain. And it acts like a superhighway, transmitting signals back and forth between those two organs.
So the vagus nerve is like a direct line of communication between our gut and our brain.
Exactly. It allows our gut bacteria to send messages to the brain, influencing everything from mood and appetite to our stress response and even cognitive function.
That is incredible. So it's like
Yeah.
our gut bacteria are having a conversation with our brain, impacting how we feel and think.
It's truly remarkable. And it's not just the vagus nerve. Gut bacteria also produce what we call metabolites.
Mhm.
These are byproducts of their metabolic processes. And some of these metabolites can actually cross the blood-brain barrier and directly interact with our brain cells.
So these tiny organisms are producing substances that can actually travel to our brain
Yes,
and influence its activity.
precisely. It's a complex and intricate system, but we're beginning to unravel the fascinating ways our gut microbiome really shapes our brain and our behavior.
Okay, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something a bit more practical.
Yeah.
We've discussed the importance of, a diverse and balanced gut microbiome,
Yes.
but how can we actually assess the health of our gut? Are there any tests available?
There are a few different tests that can provide insights into gut health. One option is a comprehensive stool test, which analyzes the composition of your gut microbiome. This can reveal which types of bacteria are present, their relative abundance, and whether there are any imbalances.
So it's like taking a census of our gut inhabitants.
Exactly. These tests can also assess markers of inflammation and digestion, providing a more complete picture of gut health.
That sounds really helpful. Are those tests readily available?
They're becoming increasingly common, but it's best to consult with a healthcare professional who specializes in gut health. They can help you determine which tests are appropriate for you and, of course, help you interpret the results.
So if someone's concerned about their gut health, a good first step would be to talk to their doctor or a healthcare provider who
Absolutely.
can then kind of guide them through that process.
Yeah.
This deep dive has been so enlightening. I feel like we've explored this vast and complex world of our gut microbiome and its impact on our overall health. As we wrap up, I want to revisit something you said earlier
Okay.
about gut health being a journey, not a destination.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think that's a really important point to emphasize. Cultivating a healthy gut is an ongoing process. It's a lifelong commitment to nourishing our inner ecosystem. There's no quick fix. There's no magic pill that will instantly transform our gut health.
So it's about making sustainable changes that support a thriving gut microbiome over the long term.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about incorporating those simple yet powerful habits we've discussed, focusing on a diverse and fiber-rich diet, managing stress, prioritizing sleep, staying hydrated, and being mindful of medications and those other lifestyle factors.
It's about listening to our bodies,
Yes.
recognizing those subtle signals, and then making adjustments as needed.
Precisely. And remember, the journey itself can be incredibly rewarding. As we learn more about our gut microbiome and its impact on our health, we become empowered to make choices that support our overall well-being.
This has been an incredible exploration into the fascinating world within us. And I hope you all learned something new and interesting about the amazing power of your gut.
It's been a pleasure sharing this journey with you. And remember, even the smallest steps towards better gut health can make a huge difference.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.